Turning to the pandemic now, Bexar County hits a major milestone in coronavirus vaccinations, but there are still a lot of people on the fence about getting one. Erica Zucco joins us now with a new incentive for people to get the vaccine. Good morning, Erica.
Good morning, Audrey. Yeah, they're talking about giving out free Six Flags tickets. Fiesta Texas has donated about 20,000 of those, and they're hoping it'll incentivize some people who haven't gotten vaccinated yet but are open to doing so. Now, we have hit a milestone here within the city of San Antonio, according to the mayor. Take a look at some data that Metro Health released yesterday. They say that more than 1 million people, about 60% of the community, has gotten vaccinated. About 15,684 of those have been 12 to 15-year-olds. But still about 40% of people across the city are unvaccinated right now. Now, if people do get their shots, they may be up for a free one-day ticket to Six Flags. Fiesta Texas will be giving out those 20,000 one-day tickets to people who get vaccinated at any Metro Health or partner clinic. You may be eligible if you get your shot at the Alamo Dome, and they're also sharing some tickets with vaccine sites with UT Health, University Health, UIW, WellMed, SAFD, and Bexar County. The Alamo Dome drive-through clinic is currently still open from Wednesday through Friday. Those times they're going from noon to 8. You can find more information at kens5.com. Back to you.